Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, The Black Accountant. It's your boy Mo, and if you haven't already done so, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Man, I know it's been a minute since I've uploaded, but you know what? We're here now, so let's talk about it. Today I want to talk a little bit about how to change. And when I say how to change, I'm not going to give you like this catch-all guide, this three-step guide to changing yourself. But more so, I want to discuss the mechanism behind changing yourself and why I think it's so important. And before I kind of start to get into that, I want to give this disclaimer that obviously a lot of what I'm saying and pretty much everything that I'm saying comes from my own experiences in life. It comes from my own observations. So it's not an absolute truth. It may or may not work for you, but I think this is kind of the foundation of what it takes to start changing of yourself. So I want to talk about knowing yourself, which is step one. And you know, it sounds like such a generic term because you can hear that from anybody and everything. But when I say know yourself, I don't mean that you need to know exactly where you're headed in life, exactly what your goals are, because those things can fluctuate even on a day to day basis. But what I'm talking about when I say know yourself is understanding your habits, understanding how you operate, knowing yourself in the sense of your thoughts, your actions, and your patterns, right? And this is something that requires some evaluation of yourself, like understanding that, you know, I eat at certain times of the day. I eat this many times during the day. Um, it could be something along the lines of I study or I procrastinate at these types of times, usually when I'm stressed, usually when there's a big deadline coming up, or when I know something is going to be really good for me, but I'm scared of that change. You know, once you start to understand these aspects of yourself, that's when you can really start to change because you operate around yourself. You don't operate around what somebody tells you to do. You don't operate around a program per se. You have to give yourself that leeway. You have to really understand who you are and how you do things for yourself to change. So let me give you like a good example of that. For me, I've always really struggled with weight gain and weight loss, um, especially in regards to fitness and where I wanted to be. I've always wanted to have, you know, like a six pack of abs and like be shredded in whatever way. And I had the hardest time doing that for so much of my life because I would watch so many YouTube videos. I would look at other people and then try to emulate what other people were doing in terms of diet, in terms of exercise routines. And a lot of times I would not be able to be consistent with those things because it didn't match my personality. It didn't match my habits, if that makes any sense, right? Where you're told you need to transition to eating certain types of food or you need to eat a certain amount per day or something along those lines. And part of it may have been a lack of discipline, but at the other end, what I really realized was I was going based off of curated schedules that worked for whoever was posting that. So, like, whoever the YouTuber is that's talking about their transformation, it worked for their body type, it worked for them, it worked for their lifestyle. And I realized I needed to develop something for myself where I gave myself an allowance to eat because I like to eat a lot, but at the same time, I still wanted to lose weight. So I started to understand that for me, I needed to figure out what times in the day do I usually eat and how much do I eat and what can I change from that without without disturbing my patterns too much, right? So if I like to eat a lot in the evening, I'm gonna make that my focal point of time to eat. For me, what I did was I would have like a big meal at that time and then little meals everywhere else because I really do not like to eat breakfast. I don't like to eat in the morning and I would usually have coffee. I started to kind of just, you know, understand that that's when I would do all those things and then changing around them. Um, and then the second thing when it comes to changing yourself that's really important is to identify what you want out of life. This is probably a very, very difficult one for most people because for the longest, you think you know what you want, but you know, you end up conflating it with what society expects you to be, what your family expects you to be, what other people expect you to be. But if you really sit down and ask yourself that question of what do I want out of life, that's when you can really start coming into your own. And obviously, when you do this rumination or when you start thinking about these things, it's not a question of let me think hard and think for the longest and come up with an exact answer of I need to be a doctor, I need to be an engineer, I need to be at this place in a corporate ladder at this point in time in my life, etc., etc., etc. No, what I'm talking about is understanding yourself, where it's like, do I want to be this thing? Why do I want to be this thing? Do I have the energy, the motivation, the discipline to do that or become that? And then start really hitting yourself with your own accountability. Instead of waiting for somebody else to come motivate you, instead of waiting for motivation to hit, instead of waiting for other people to hold you accountable, hold yourself accountable. Hold yourself accountable to your own goals. Hold yourself accountable to your own life. Because while you may have been dealt a shitty hand, especially for the people who always come in the comments with, well, not everybody has had great parents, not everybody knows what they want, not everybody has like a shot at life. No, 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 no. Everybody has a shot to be who they want to be, especially with the coming of the internet and online work and remote work, etc., etc. Everybody has the opportunity, but I recognize that it is harder for some. And harder does not mean you cannot do it. Harder just means that it may take you longer, that it may be more challenging, but it is still doable. And, that may be unfair. That may be unfair, but at the end of the day, nobody's going to come in and magically fix your life for you. Nobody's going to come in and be like, oh, you know what? You're so poor, or you're so disabled, or you're so this, and then just hand you all the keys to life. That's not how that works. You have to struggle and fight for it. And honestly, when you do that, you make it easier for the ones after you who have come from the same background as you, because you're creating a metric, you're creating a system or an example, a blueprint per se, of how to achieve those things, of how to do that, because you've done it, and that's kind of unfortunately like something that happens in life sometimes. And because you were dealt that shitty hand, you have, as you live your life, the ability to swap out cards, and then you keep doing that till you have a great hand and you win the game, and you win the game for yourself. And what it means to win the game is different on a person by person basis. And that's something that I had to really learn in life, because I thought I had very specific goals and I'd be kind of stuck in this matrix of like work, where like I stopped really putting in too much effort into relationships around myself, whether that was with siblings, parents, etc., in lieu of, well, I need to achieve this financial goal. I need to achieve this specific thing so I can come back and help these people. But in the process, it's like I was cutting those people out low key without really meaning to cut them out. And then I realized that, everything in life is a balance. And then really what I had to do was sit down and assess myself and think, what is the reasoning behind my goals? Why do I want these goals? And why are they so important to me? And really started to shift my mentality outside of just strictly financial goals to, here's my relationship goal in life. Here's my financial goal in life. Here's my career goal in life. Here is my my hobby goal in life, or my interest goal in life. Like I have a goal for pretty much everything. And then it's just a constant shift of how much attention I give each of those things until I can get it right. And some may be more important than others. For example, like the whole financial aspect was so important to me because I was in a survival mentality for the longest, where I needed to be able to provide the basics, right? Where it's like provide shelter, provide food, and provide, I don't know, whatever the other thing part of that is. But, like those very basics. And that took me a while to get to. And then once I got to those points, I was unmotivated for the longest because I had already achieved those things. And what was motivating me was a need to survive. But once I was surviving, I started to try to figure out what is it going to take for me to move into that thriving space, because the next step is to thrive. And to thrive, you need to really understand yourself. And I did not give myself the leeway. I didn't even have the leeway to consider anything beyond those survival means. So once I was put into that space, it caused me to be in this little like depressed state for a while, where I had to think about, who am I? The most existential question out there. And realize, who is Muhammad? Who do I want to become in life? Who do I want to influence? And how do I want to become that thing? And then how do I make it in my own parameters rather than what's traditionally done in that environment to become that? You know? And that's sort of what I think are really the basics. The basics, but also the most complicated, are what it takes to start to change of yourself. I think I have maybe some more ideas on this, but I think I'd want to get some more time to kind of articulate that and see what people think. But that's all I have for today's video. Let me know what your thoughts are. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.